Every year, the Montgomery Emancipation Association pauses to remember the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation. New Year's Day, it will host the 159th Emancipation Proclamation celebration. Here now to tell us more about it is the president of the Montgomery Emancipation Association, Dr. Richard Bailey. First, what is the Montgomery Emancipation Association and how did it get its start?
Well, first of all, this is an organization that gives everybody in the Montgomery community an opportunity to reflect on our past, our history. Our first celebration, 1866, and we try to present outstanding speakers, excellent choirs. We try to meet at a centrally located church, and we try to recognize outstanding students in our local high schools.
What all do you have planned as an association for the 159th Emancipation Proclamation celebration that's coming up?
Well, first of all, we will meet at the People's Missionary Baptist Church, and Dr. Wilson Fallon, who is the president of the Birmingham Usonian Baptist Bible College, will speak on the theme, Faith and Freedom, the Black Church in Alabama. And for all of those persons who really love history, that's the place to be.
You're going to learn a lot.
You're going to learn a lot.
You mentioned students, that you like to recognize students. Why is that? And what do you look for in the students that you recognize?
Well, first of all, we want people to know we have some outstanding students in our local high school. These people are achieving beyond any measure, and we want people to come out and when they look at those profiles to see just what wonderful things these students are doing in our local high schools. And then we have a student who will read the proclamation. This year, Caspian Jerry Doe Smith, a student at Pike Road Junior High School, will come before us and read that proclamation, as I think President Lincoln would be so proud.
I see you smiling.
I have to, yes.
Why is that?
Because when we look at the fact that I have so much confidence in tomorrow, and these students represent our leaders of tomorrow, our governors, our mayors, our Nobel recipients, whatever the case might be, we have to have faith in tomorrow.
It shows you there is so much promise and potential in the children.
No question about it.
You will have a speaker. Tell us about the speaker that you will have.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, Dr. Wilson Fallon will come before us on that day. He has served already as president of Selma University, and he's a graduate of University of Montevallo, Morehouse College. In fact, there's a building on the campus of the University of Montevallo that's named for him in recognition of his outstanding achievement. He's an excellent speaker. He has written and spoken on the Black church in Alabama. So we have a very knowledgeable person who will come before us that day and tell us about our past.
Why is it important that you pause on that day and remember the Emancipation Proclamation?
Yes, very good question, because on that day in 1863, about 2:30 in the afternoon, President Lincoln walked downstairs at the White House and signed that proclamation. And African Americans all over the country were wondering if he were going to sign that proclamation. So we paused to let people know that there was no certainty that President Lincoln would in fact sign that proclamation. But when the word spread that he had signed that proclamation, there was jubilation all over the country for a person who learned about it immediately.
And when you hear those words spoken all these years later, the young student Caspian will be reading those at this upcoming celebration. What does that mean to you? What does it do to you emotionally?
It does quite a bit to me. It galvanizes me, in fact, that we have young people who will get the opportunity to read that proclamation. And some of those people dramatize their reading. But whatever they do, it gives them the opportunity to learn something about their past and to learn firsthand almost what President Lincoln had in mind when he signed that proclamation. And I should never forget, when President Lincoln finished signing that proclamation, he said, if he would want to be remembered for just one act during his presidency, that act would be signing the Emancipation Proclamation.
That is what you are doing January 1st.
Yes,
all these
indeed.
years later is remembering that act by
Yes.
President Lincoln. Tell us when and where this celebration is taking place.
January the 1st, 2025, 10 a.m. at the People's Missionary Baptist Church, 2970 Dorchester Drive, here in Montgomery, free and open to the public.
You encourage everybody to attend.
No question about it.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Alabama Live. We appreciate it.
And thank you for having me.